Welcome back. We typically look at three things in our channel: productivity, your skill upgradation, and your career getting turbocharged because of these two. Today, we are going to look at how do you read books and get the maximum out of it. People say that leaders are made of books, and all great leaders read books. They are all voracious readers. They all consume books like there is no tomorrow. They all consume great books, and great books also kindle their thoughts. Think about what needs to be done, and without spending too much of your own time and energy, you are able to understand, experience, and other people's learning. That is the beauty of reading a book. But how do you get the maximum out of a book, especially in the age of AI? That's what we are going to look at. Let's jump in. The key question that we ask ourselves is this: how do I read books? How do I read more books? And more importantly, what we are trying to answer in this episode of this channel is how do I get the maximum impact out of whatever book that I read? We may read many books, but we may also forget all of them. And therefore, reading by itself doesn't count. What counts is how much are you able to get out of the book? How much are you able to retain out of the book? How much are you able to leave great books? The systems, the points, the learnings that you are able to imbibe into you. How much are you able to retain? How much are you able to leave that book? That's all that counts. So let's take a book, a great book as an example, and look at a framework for living that book, retaining the maximum out of the book, getting the maximum impact out of the book. I have always admired the book Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And it's a fantastic book which shaped my thinking, shaped my career. And I thought that would be a great example to illustrate the principle that I'm going to talk about in this particular episode. Let's jump in. Let's take that book as the example through which I'm going to illustrate how you can get the best out of any book that you read. Step one: think about your why of why you are reading that book. You're picking up a book. It could be an audio book. It could be a physical book. It could be a e-book. You are going to spend some time, be 200 pages, 300 pages. You are going to spend some time. It could be 10 minutes a day. It could be 1 hour a day. Whatever time limit that you're setting for yourself, but you are going to spend some time, energy, effort reading that book. So remind yourself why you are picking up that book. I'm not talking about fictional book. I'm not talking about story books. I'm not talking about thrillers, murder, mysteries, and so on. Those all we read for enjoyment, entertainment. I'm leaving that genre out for a minute right now. We all read non-fiction books. It could be, as I have taken in my example, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. It could be Atomic Habits. It could be any other book. It could be self-help book. It could be productivity related book. You are picking up that book for what reason? Just remind yourself, note it down. Are you reading it out of curiosity? Are you reading it out of learning? Out, are you reading it out of a need to apply those principles in your life? Or are you reading it so that you can teach it to somebody else? Just take a journal, put a note in terms of why you are taking that book. And it's a great idea to journal your book. It could be e-journal, it could be a physical journal. I do a lot of e-journaling. I do use Notion for doing all of that, but it's up to you in terms of whether you are using a physical notebook or an e-book to write down your thoughts. But the point is to write down your thoughts and start with, okay, this is a book that I'm going to read, but why am I picking up that book? What prompted me to pick up that book and read that book? Start with that why. Step number one. Step number two, related to step number one, think about what are the challenges that you are facing right now and what are the assistance, learnings, help that you are expecting the book to give you. For example, in the Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, maybe that you are always in the firefighting mode and somebody told you that there's a great book which will help you to find out which quadrant you are in and also to find out how do you move from a firefighting quadrant to a more leisurely planning, living that important things quadrant. If that is what you are facing, if that is why you are picking up the book, Note down your challenges currently, whatever challenges that you're facing, and relate that why in the first step to the challenges, and therefore what expectations, what outcome you are expecting to reach out of this book. It will help you because that expectation setting, that outcome setting is a great second step in terms of thinking about the book and pushing yourself towards next steps. Tip number three. Now you've got the book, but even before you open the book, go to ChatGPT, go to Perplexity, go to any of the AI that you are using. And I use ChatGPT, the free model. It works for me, and any AI can work for you. Just type in this prompt. Give me a 3-line summary of this book by this author. Give me a 3-line summary of this book by this author. And by the way, I've given all of these points, including the prompts that I have used to enhance my learning as part of notes, which you can download, which you can apply, which you can enjoy completely free of cost. Now, coming back to the prompt, help me with a 3-line summary of this book by this author. Now, this 3-line summary of this book quickly gives you make you understand what exactly that book is all about. Copy, paste that into a e-journal, note down if you're using a physical journal. That 3-line summary helps you to understand what that book is all about and what you are going to read about. It's a great way to start the book. Tip number 4. Now ask for a detailed summary of the book. A simple prompt could be, give me a detailed summary of this book by this author. Cover all key points that the book talks about. Cover all key applications of all key principles that the book talks about. When you give this prompt, AI, it could be ChatGPT, it could be Perplexity, it could be Claude, any of the things that you might be using and comfortable with, will give you a key summary of the book, which covers all key points, all key principles, and therefore all key applications. When you go through that and you would spend 2 minutes, 3 minutes going through that, it would quickly give you cover to cover what the book is trying to tell you. And that would give you an understanding of what you are about to read even before you start reading the book. It's a great way to start reading the book because you know the lay of the land before entering the book. It's like looking at the map, understanding how long you have to go, what is the distance, how much is it taking time, and what kind of a traffic is there on the road. When you have that mental map of the lay of the land, you are able to navigate that even better because you know what you are expected to do on the road. Similarly, when you have a key summary, 3-line summary, and followed by a detailed summary, principles, applications of the book, you are able to think about the book a little more deeply even before you pick up the book. And when you pick up the book after that, you can do a wonderful job of understanding what the author is trying to tell you. Step number 5. Now ask AI to note down what are the questions that you should be asking yourself. A simple question could be outcome of what AI is giving you as a prompted note to you is, what are the challenges that you have faced recently in your professional life? What are the challenges that you have faced recently in your professional life? This is what AI is asking you to do. So you ask AI, the prompt is, give me a list of challenges that people face, which can be solved basis the learnings of this book. Give me a list of challenges which can be solved by applying the principles and learnings from this book. When you give this prompt to AI, it will give you a list of things that you should be asking yourself. It could be the question that I asked. What are the challenges that I have faced recently in my professional life? Then you sit one by one. What are the challenges that you are having in your professional life? It could be personal life as well, but I'm taking professional life as an example. It could be that, okay, have you been proactive? Have you not been proactive? What are the circumstances in which you have been proactive? What are circumstances in which you have not been proactive? It will ask these questions, and therefore you will know, okay, these are the challenges that I need to be thinking about when I am reading about the book. So when even as you are reading the book, you will be able to relate back to your challenges that you have faced, the kind of things that you need to solve for the question number two, why you are reading that book and what are the challenges you are facing. Now, in step number five, you are actually detailing them out so that when you are reading the book, you can apply as and when you are reading those principles. Next step is actually reading that book and noting down key points. Now, there is no substitute to reading the actual book. Whatever the AI can give, AI can give, but nothing like reading the book because of any great book contains a lot of stories that the author tells. Real life stories, it be personal experiences, it be professional experiences, distilled into fitting into the framework, fitting into those principles which illustrate the principles that the author is talking about. So absolutely nothing can, AI can never replace the experience of reading the book. So please read the book, which is the next step. Step number seven. Now you have started with a why, you have started with what challenges you are facing and therefore what you are expecting the book to solve for. You have also looked at what kind of thing that you need to solve for in detail through AI prompting. You have read the book. Now is the time to reflect deeply and look at what are the applications that you now start doing in your life. What areas, what challenges, what applications that you have learned, the learnings from the book can be applied into. That is what you need to prepare. So here is a prompt. Give me the key principles that are available in this book. Give me the set of challenges each of these key principles are able to solve for, and give me 2 action items per challenge that I need to do. Now, when you give this prompt, you will get a table which says, okay, this is the key principle, this is the key challenge, and these are the 2 key applications. It could be, for example, the challenge is that your team lacks alignment, and these different people are talking different things and different meetings, and there's no alignment. The principle could be start with the end in mind. And that is a principle that you need to talk about, think about while attacking this problem, the challenge called team alignment. And the 2 things that you need to do is one, starting with the end in mind, talking about a vision board. What is it that you want to do 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, and where you want to move the company, where you want to move your department, where you want to move this particular product, particular brand. And basis that, if that is where you want to be, get an alignment on that is where you want to be. Once you get an alignment on that is where you want to be, and now from now on to reach there, what are the steps? So starting with an end in mind, when you start with the end in mind, when you talk about that to the team, when you create a vision board, when you get an alignment on the vision board, now you've got an alignment on the overall vision, which is 2, 3 years down the line. And then every single step that you are going to talk about is towards that. It will be a lot more easier to align the team on the steps to take once you have aligned on the goal to take. Even then, there will be some misalignment, some disagreements, and so on, which is par for the course. But you would be able to move within the guardrails of where you want to go. So when you ask, when you put these together, what are the principles? What are the challenges? What are the 2 things that you need to do per solving the challenges, basing the principle? You will be able to get a nice output which you can directly apply. Go ahead, do that. Step number 8, you should ask the AI to give you an application map like what we talked about in the previous step, week by week by week, broken into weeks. It could be that you are finding yourself interrupting people in the meeting and you want to break that habit, break that chain of thought, give them space, give them enough time to finish their thoughts so that you are able to listen well, you are able to understand what their points are without interrupting them, and then give them feedback, give them, ask them clarification, and so on and so forth. But if this is what you want to instill in yourself, then you can ask the AI to give you a weekly program. Weekly program could be week 1. The AI could be giving you week 1, check how many times you are interrupting people. Week 2, practice listening in one-on-ones. Week 3, push yourself to ask reflective questioning, Socratic questioning, helpful questioning, insightful questioning in your one-on-ones. Week 4, journal again in terms of what is happening in week 1, 2, 3, and how much have you learned, how much are you in your own eyes improving in terms of not interrupting people, allowing them space, allowing them time to finish. In this axis, how much have you moved? So AI will be able to give you that breakup week by week by week tracker. So ask for the tracker from the AI. So simple prompt could be, I want to develop this particular principle. Now you have read the book. You also have the detailed summary from the AI about the book. So you know exactly what the book is covering. You have also read the book and therefore you have now reinforced your understanding of the book. Now go ahead and ask for principle by principle by principle, key point by key point by key point, whatever challenges that you are able to solve, because you have the table in terms of which principle solves which challenge and what two action point that you need to take. From this, convert each of the principle, each of the challenge, each of the two action points into a weekly sprint that you can create, develop, and apply. Go ahead, ask for it and apply it. One more step in terms of even understanding the book that you can apply is, you have asked for a detailed summary of the book. You've got that principle, applications, and two action points. Also, you have got a table. Now is the time to ask for, give me a detailed summary chapter by chapter of this book by this author. So in our example, I would ask for, give me a detailed summary of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, chapter by chapter, covering all key principles, covering which can solve for all key challenges that we have discussed in the previous times. Give me in detail. So it will start giving you chapter by chapter. It will cover all the chapters, copy, paste into your journal, note it down into your journal, spend some time reading it, spend some time digesting it. Because you have read the book and you are now asking for the summary, you will be able to relate back a lot of these summary points back to what you have learned from the book. It's a good way to refresh the book and set yourself for next steps. Next step, and the series of next steps are going to be on how to get the best juice out of the book, how to take the absolute best out of the book that you're reading. So what you start with, you ask the AI a very simple series of questions. Number one in the next series is this. Tell me what would go wrong if I don't apply the learnings from this book. Very anti-intuitive, but worth noting down, worth asking for. Tell me what will go wrong if I don't apply the principles from this book. So you get to know the worst case scenario in case you don't do anything which the book is talking about. And intuitively, we do a lot of things. And that is why it is important to know what would happen if you just don't do anything. This is what the book is advising you to do. Ask this prompt, note down what is it saying. In the case of 7 habits of highly effective people, it may say that if you don't apply this book, you may not be effective in your meetings, you may not be effective in your one-on-ones, you may not be effective in terms of your planning, you may not be effective in terms of your professional life. And this is why you may not be effective. It is good to know that because it gives you the downside of not following the principles, and it will make you to reflect even more about why and how you should learn from this book. Go ahead, give this prompt, learn about it. The next step, very similar to the previous step but slightly different, is ask AI, what are the questions that this book is not answering? I will repeat, what are the questions that this book is not answering? Not every book answers every single questions in life. That's a simple thing that we intuitively know, but it is helpful to know what the book deeply covers and what the book on the same topic does not deep enough cover. What are the areas that it is helping you to master, but also what are the areas that it is leaving as shallow, leaving for thoughtfulness later, leaving for reading later, leaving for reading from other books. It is important for you to know so that you can plan your reading accordingly, because not every book covers every single topic and depth deep enough. It is important to know which topics are covered in depth and which topics it is skimming, it is not even touching. So ask this question, get the answer. It would help you to reflect on the definition, the boundary conditions that the book is dealing with. Also to know that, okay, this book can give you only so much and you need to go to other books for understanding a lot deeply about related topics. And what those related topics are, what is your learning journey should be after this book. And therefore, what is it that you should expect from this book? All of that you will get to know when you ask this prompt and answer, get the answer and go through the answer. Go ahead, ask it prompt. Next step is to test the ideas against your own life story, against your own routines, against your own habits, and look at what is a mismatch between what the book is professing and what you are actually doing. So now imagine your self routine, daily habits, whatever you are doing, and type it into AI. Tell AI that I'm going to type into you my morning routine or the way I handle things typically. Imagine yourself in office, imagine a professional situation, imagine a meeting, type out as to typically what you do. Then ask AI from this book, basis the learnings, give me a list of mismatches that you see from what I'm doing versus what the book is professing me to do. It will give you a series of things which becomes a thought starter for you to think about and look at why this misalignment is happening, what you should be doing about it. Next idea is to look at from a critic perspective. You read the book, you read the summary, you read chapter wise summary, you've got an application map, you also have got your life, typically how you handle situation, typically how you go about doing things. And compared to that, whatever the book is saying, what is the gap between this so that you can understand the gap and start thinking about it. You have done all of that. Now is the time to look at the book from a very critical eyes. So there's a prompt. Book by this author, look at it from a critical eye and critique it basis three authors who have given ideas completely different and opposite to what this book is talking about. When you give this prompt, you will get a series of ideas which turns the book on its head. You will get a set of ideas which talks about why the principle that the book is talking about is a limited application. The book is great. Yes, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People is a great book. However, what are the limiting set of ideas? What are the limitations of these ideas? What are the assumptions that the book is making? For example, that book is making that people are very logical people, that you are able to control your life. What if you are not able to control your life? What if there are psychological scars? What if you are in a company where you don't have any width to do anything? So a lot of circumstances might be very different from what the book is talking about, and you will get to know the very core limitations of the idea that the book is talking about, which will help you to understand where all you can apply and where all you should not even try applying this book. The next step is to create a codified system so that you can leave that book. You've understood the key points, you've understood application map, you've also understood what are the limiting points of this book, the boundary conditions of the book by critiquing the book. Now is the time to ask AI to give you a complete codified way of living the book, a system of living the book, action items of living the book, so that you can start applying those principles within those boundary conditions that you have learned from the previous step. Go ahead and apply that. So what is the prompt? Give me a system of living the book, step-by-step methodology, application of living the principles outlined in the book so that I can practice it on a day-to-day, daily basis. Give me week-wise action plan. Give me a summary of thinking about this so that I apply these principles stepwise, sequentially wherever required, and apply it in the best possible manner. I've given all of these prompts later in the note that I've talked about, which you can download and apply. But when you apply this prompt, you get a series of steps, a codified system, as I call it, so that you can apply and live that book principles. The next step is to convert these book ideas into a spaced repetition plan so that you can live the book. So in terms of the seven habits of highly effective people, it could be that for every one of the seven principles, you get an action item, you get a codified plan, which helps you to live the book. So you go ahead and ask for a spaced repetition. It could be flashcards that AI generates and gives you. It could be simple steps that it generates and gives you. It could be the bullet points for every chapter summary that it generates and gives you. There are very different ways of remembering a book, applying a book, but ask for it. You will get an application, you will get a set of flashcards, you would get a set of memory aids which can go back to apply so that you live the book, you remember the book forever. Another way to get the best out of a book is to convert the book into a series of challenges basis the principles explained in the book, which are weekly challenges for you, what I call as micro challenges. So you can ask the AI, give me micro challenges which I can apply day to day basis. Give me 10 micro challenges, one per week, which I can go ahead and apply in my life. So it would turn the book, take the principles, convert into micro challenges, give one challenge at a time, and it will give you 10 micro challenges which you can live and breathe. Apply the book even when you have started reading another book. So that you don't leave and you don't forget this book while you read another book. It's a great way of applying the principle that you have digested from the previous book while you have started reading next book so that you don't forget whatever you have read from the previous book. Next step is to ask for rule of thumbs, which makes it much simpler to practice the book on a daily basis. So give this prompt. Generate 5 rules of thumbs from this book that we are talking about. It could be applied for any book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, so that I can practice these every single day. It will generate simple rules of thumb so that you can keep them printed in front of you, write down on your journal, copy paste in your e-journal, so and you can go back to it and leave them every single day. Try it. It's a fun way of returning the book. What else can you do with a book? What else can you do with the book and the AI combo? Think about it. You can create a tracker, habit tracker. Am I applying the learnings from this book? Give me a habit tracker. It could be Notion, it could be Excel, whatever work for you. Habit tracker, which illustrates all the key principles, which highlights all my challenges that I'm facing in my workbook, and my space where I write down in terms of what I'm doing and a way of measuring what I'm doing on a scale, which will tell me what and how effective have I been in terms of applying that book principle, which will help me track this habit, these principles for a period of time. So you can convert the book into a habit tracker, which helps you to understand how effective you are in applying those principles. Try another fun way of returning the book. Other great ways of getting best out of book, juice out of book is to creatively apply AI. What are the ways of creatively applying the AI? One, you can ask AI, ChatGPT, for example, to, okay, the author, Stephen Covey, who has written the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, now simulate a discussion between Stephen Covey and a critic who says that this book are having these constraints. It could be 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene. So he is having a discussion between Stephen Covey, and how would that discussion go? Imagine that, give me that simulation. When you read the simulation of one author, one book, versus another author who's taking a completely different direction compared to whatever is given in the book, you are able to understand different perspectives coming together. What is perspective A, what is perspective B, what is the difference? And while you are trying to ingest the perspective A, it is also very helpful to understand the perspective from the author B's perspective. That is what you will be able to do when you are able to do this simulation. You can ask AI to give you a podcast basis the book. You can ask AI to give you flashcards basis the book. You can ask AI to give you a complete tracker basis the book. You can ask AI to give you metaphors and analogy basis the book. When you ask creatively, and I've given all of these prompts in the note downloadable form that is available on the YouTube, when you are asking AI to dive deeply, creatively into the book and give you excerpts, thinking, simulation points, you are able to appreciate the book, and you are able to appreciate the book not only from what is available in the book, but from what you can apply that book into. Right? Fun way of retaining the book. You can go a lot further when you're using AI to read books. Suppose you have been using this methodology to read books for a period of time. Then you can ask AI to review all your book summaries, where you have not only used the AI prompted summary, but you have also added your thoughts, your reflections on top of all of these summaries. You can give all of those summaries one by one to ChatGPT. Okay, I'm giving you part one, read it, wait for part two giving, wait for part three, and so on, so on. You have given, let's say, 10 books, 10 parts. Now ask AI in terms of look at all my summaries, look for patterns, and look for typical insights that I have been noting down. Give me a list of those insights basis the pattern that you see. It'll give you a pattern, it'll give you insights basis whatever you have written down over a period of time. You can also ask AI to recommend books basis the kind of book that you're reading for the next set of books. Okay, these are the 10 books that I've read. Basis my appetite, suggest logically which book I should be reading my next three books. And it can also tell you what are the challenges that you are striving to solve for. You can give back whatever the weekly plan, action plan, and improvement, your status, your reading of your situation, your rating of yourself in terms of effectiveness, and suggest I've been struggling in these areas while I've been trying to apply the learnings of the book. Tell me how better I can apply the learnings from this book. Then it will look at what your struggles are. It would function as a coach and mentor, and it give you all the action points that you now need to think about over and above what you have thought about. Start applying those. So there are a zillion ways of applying. When you are combining the power of AI to learning from the book, apply them as a thought process, structural thought process to understand the book, to critique the book, to learn more about the book, and then start applying the principles in your life. And then look at over a period of time what have you learned from different sets of books in terms of what you are learning, what your insights are, what your appetite is, what your liking is about learning from different kinds of books, so that you can continue to learn not only from that book, but over a period of time from very many different books, and understand a meta learning in terms of why you are reading those books, what kind of challenges you are solving, where you are still not able to solve, and what to do about solving all those problems also. So it's a very fun way of learning from the books, very fun way of improving yourself, applying a system, applying learning principles from each of the book that you have read. And over a period of time, you would have collected a number of learning principles which you can apply to your life. Have fun. All of these points, start applying one by one so that you can read many books, take the juice and the best out of each of the books, and become a better version of yourself over a period of time. Wishing you all the very best. See you in our next episode.